Ivanka Trump's company flourishes as she crafts a political career from her West Wing office. Sales for the Ivanka Trump brand have hit their highest numbers in history this year despite numerous controversies surrounding the company and calls to boycott the first daughter's fashion empire. At the same time, new lines of activewear and a collection of affordable jewelry have been launched, while Ivanka Trump Marks LLC has won provisional approval from the Chinese government for 4 new trademarks. There is now another controversy brewing, however, as the company won those provisional trademarks on the same day that Ivanka dined with President Xi Jinping of China at Mar-a-Lago. These trademarks now give Ivanka Trump Marks LLC monopoly rights to sell the brand's jewelry, bags, and spa services in China, the world's second-largest economy. Criminal conflict of interest law prohibits federal officials like Ivanka from participating in government matters that could impact their own financial interest. Scroll down for video. In a recent interview with CBS News, Trump argued that her business would be doing even better if she hadn't moved to Washington and placed restrictions on her team to ensure that any growth is done with extreme caution. China, however, remains a nagging concern. Ivanka has so many China ties and conflicts, yet she and Jared appear deeply involved in China contacts and policy. "I would never have allowed it," said Norman Eisen, who served as chief White House ethics lawyer under Barack Obama. "For their own sake, and the country's, Ivanka and Jared should consider stepping away from China matters." Instead, the first daughter and her husband have emerged as prominent interlocutors with China, where they have both had significant business ties. Last year, Kushner pursued hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate investments from Anbang Insurance Group, a financial conglomerate with close ties to the Chinese state. Talks were called off after media reports about the deal. Publicly, Ivanka has taken a gracious, charming approach toward Beijing. During the Mar-a-Lago meetings, her daughter, 5-year-old Arabella, stood in a gilded room and sang a traditional Chinese song, in Mandarin, to President Xi Jinping. The video, which was lavishly praised by Chinese state media, played over 2.2 million times on China's popular news portal QQ.com. The week of the summit, 3.4 tons of Ivanka Trump handbags, wallets, and blouses arrived in the U.S. from Hong Kong and Shanghai. U.S. imports of her merchandise grew an estimated 40% in the first quarter of this year, according to Panjiva Incorporated, which maintains and analyzes global shipping records. It was revealed in March that the brand had its best ever month in February, despite being dropped by Nordstrom and other national retailers for poor sales. In an interview with Refinery29, company president Abigail Clem said, "Since the beginning of February, they were some of the best performing weeks in the history of the brand." For several different retailers, Ivanka Trump was a top performer online, and in some of the categories it was the brand's best performance ever. On Amazon, Ivanka had the top-selling fragrance for that month. New stock was frequently being added to her Zappos page, and the London-based e-commerce startup Lyst had Ivanka as the 11th bestseller on the site for the month of February. That represented an increase of 346% from January, when the brand ranked at 550 on the site. Ivanka is no longer doing that well on those sites, but numbers are still up from last year at this time. February was a roller coaster month for the brand, from which Ivanka stepped down in January, 1 week before she and her family moved to Washington, D.C. It all began when President Trump lashed out at Nordstrom for dumping his daughter's clothing line. "My daughter Ivanka has been treated so unfairly by Nordstrom," the president wrote on Twitter last month. "She is a great person, always pushing me to do the right thing. Terrible." White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer then defended President Trump's comment later in the day, saying that he was responding to an attack on his daughter. Spicer also implied that the Seattle-based retailer made the decision to drop Ivanka's line because they did not agree with President Trump's ban on immigrants from 7 Muslim-majority nations entering the country. But Nordstrom revealed in a statement to DailyMail.com at the time that Ivanka was personally told about its decision in early January, weeks before the travel ban. To reiterate what we've already shared when asked, "We made this decision based on performance," read the statement. Over the past year, and particularly in the last half of 2016, sales of the brand have steadily declined to the point where it didn't make good business sense for us to continue with the line for now. The statement went on to read, "We've had a great relationship with the Ivanka Trump team. We've had open conversations with them over the past year to share what we've seen, and Ivanka was personally informed of our decision in early January." Spicer meanwhile justified Trump's tweet, saying, "He has every right to stand up for his family and applaud their business activities, their success. So, look, when it comes to his family, I think he's been very clear how proud he is of what they do and what they've accomplished. And for someone to take out their concern with his policies on a family member of his is not acceptable. And the president has every right, as a father, to stand up for them." Spicer was later asked how Ivanka could be targeted, seeing as she made the decision to step down from her eponymous fashion company last month, just before moving to Washington, D.C. "I think there's clearly a targeting of her brand, and it's her name still out there. So while she's not directly running the company, it's still her name on it," said Spicer. "And there's clearly efforts to undermine that name based on her father's positions on particular policies that he's taken." Spicer went on to state, "This is a direct attack on his policies and her name. And so there's clearly an attempt for him to stand up for her, because she is being maligned, because they have a problem with his policies." The following day things took another turn when Kellyanne Conway promoted the brand during a television appearance. She was later counseled after that move, which is an ethics violation. White House lawyers then concluded that Ms. Conway acted inadvertently.